Hey guys, welcome back to another episode,
Yeah.
sure, of PPPD, Professors Providing Professional Development. Today, Karen and I are going to do 30-second book talks, and to make sure we're being honest, we have it on our phone and you'll hear an alarm and we have to stop talking about the book when it sounds. So, who wants to go first?
I'll go first. Okay, so she's going to set the timer for 30 seconds.
Once you start.
Okay. I'm going to first talk about a new adult. This is The Matchmaker's Playbook by Rachel Van Dyken. It was one of those rare books that has a lot of laugh out loud moments, but it's also a touching love story. This young man has a very promising football career. However, an injury has taken him out of the game. What he has done instead is start a business with his best friend, and what they do, it's kind of a matchmaking service. He basically has this plan of things that you do. Oh gosh, he falls in love with a girl that he's not supposed to. A client. 30 seconds is no fair.
We thought that might be kind of what's going to happen. Let's see what happens with me.
It's so funny.
It's a good book. Just read it, okay? This is what happens when you try to absolutely say 30 seconds and then I'm going to shut up. So let's see how Teri does.
Okay.
You can hit start for me. And here's my book. This is Being Jazz by Jennings. The subtitle is My Life as a Transgender Teen. I actually read this with my ears. I had the audiobook and listened to it as I was driving to and from work last week. I love the voice of this book. This is such a quintessential teen. It was just an incredible read. And just to give you kind of a little flavor, the chapter titles are hysterical. This is chapter 18. I'm just an average person living my life authentically and embracing the fact that I'm transgender. Oh, see, it did it to me too, doggone.
Did she narrate it herself?
She did.
Okay.
She did. Okay, this is going to be fun. Maybe we have to shoot for 45 seconds next time.
Okay.
Okay.
The Darkest Corners by Cara Thomas. This is a mystery. It's very layered and kind of in depth, but two friends that were best friends as children, when they were about 10 years old, they witnessed something kind of horrific, and they were responsible for sending a man to prison. However, after years have gone by, one of them that moved away and hasn't had to live with it anymore is having second thoughts, thinking possibly they sent the wrong man to prison. So she goes back home and realizes that there are many things underlying the real story, and it's good.
Yay! Well, I know. It's kind of fun to do anyhow. And here's my second book. I went from nonfiction now looking at a novel in verse that is actually giving you an awful lot of facts. This is You Can Fly by Carole Weatherford, and it's about the Tuskegee Airmen. I learned an incredible amount about not just the Tuskegee Airmen, but the role of African Americans during World War II. And it wasn't just the airmen who were being discriminated against. There were lots of other groups that had problems here. What I love about this is an epilogue that's here that I will not be able to read you, but you should start with the epilogue.
Start with the epilogue.
I know. Cheat, right?
Okay.
Deep breath.
Hannah E. Harrison. I've just discovered her for some reason, but I love this one. It's a board book, and it's called Extraordinary Jane. You need to go to her website too. She's an illustrator and does like animal portraits, pet portraits. It's wonderful. Jane is a dog in a family of superstar dogs in a circus. Jane doesn't have any special talents. But it turns out in the end, even though she doesn't have special talents, she is extraordinary in her own way. She's just a really good dog.
And that's a board book based on
The
a
picture
picture
book.
book.
Right,
And she's
right.
not a dog, she's an elephant.
No. She's the dog.
She's the dog. I'm sorry, you're right.
Yep, it's a family of dogs.
That's right.
Dad is great. Mom is great.
That's right.
Sisters and brothers are great.
Think about excellent Ed when you get down to
That's
something
true.
like that.
That's true.
Okay. Gary Paulsen. I could just end my book talk now, couldn't I? And then save the 30 seconds for the next book, but I won't. This is 6 kids and a stuffed cat, and it's the story of what happens when the school is locked down because of weather in the area, and there are 6 kids in the boys' bathroom on the 2nd floor, and one of them has a stuffed cat. Now, I was reading this book, and I got about 2/3 of the way through, and I thought, this story's over. And I was right. The last third of the book is the play version of the book, so now kids can put it on as readers' theater. I thought, what an incredible, incredible piece. And I can tell Karen wants this book now, so I'm going to pass it right back to her.
Well, that's pretty cool. I love the Reader's Theater part. That's very cool. So that's a really short book then.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I now love Hannah Harrison, and so I got this galley in the mail. I was very lucky to get this, and I didn't connect them at first, but then I was like, hey, this is the same author of Extraordinary Jane. Well, this is My Friend Maggie, and I love this one because they are very opposite. A little bitty, beaver and then an elephant are best friends, and they are just best friends and love each other, but then finally the beaver little girl decides or makes friends with other people, and other people start making fun of Maggie, and she oh, you didn't set my timer. Peer pressure. And so she starts shunning Maggie a little bit, and then all of a sudden she realizes how silly she's being and goes back to being Maggie's wonderful friend after Maggie stands up for her even after she'd been mean. So it's just a sweet, sweet story.
So Karin actually finished really early with that one because
we set the timer late.
Because I forgot to hit the timer to start.
Okay.
But that's okay.
Right.
And finally for me, The Best Man by Richard Peck. I've adored Richard Peck from his earliest books in the 1970s. He is coming to middle grade fiction here with a story of a family that, quite frankly, I want to adopt me so that I can live with them forever and ever. His voice is incredible. Here's how chapter 1 opens. Boys aren't too interested in weddings. Girls like them. Grown-ups like them. But my first grade year started with one wedding, and my sixth ended with another. Call my story A Tale of Two Weddings. I was in both of them. Excellent, excellent book.
Okay, so 30-second book talks. We need practice. But I think that it's a good challenge and something that we should challenge ourselves to do more. We want to teach children to be concise when they're talking about things and not ramble on, and I know that I definitely suffer from that sometimes.
I think the only way to do 30-second book talks effectively is to kind of script them out.
Yeah.
And I really hesitate to do that. I've done it a couple times, and then I read it, and I hate that.
Yeah, I don't like that either.
So this is something that you can kind of practice at getting good. We do know that we can do even faster book talks. We have before. But to say, here it is, and here's the timer, and you have to move on, wow, does that put pressure on you? So think about taking some time this summer to practice doing 30-second book talks. You'll be amazed at how hard that is to do.
Right. Yeah. Without having to write them down and read them.
Exactly.
Because we want to, what Teri and I both share as far as book talks goes, we like them to sound natural.
Right.
And so having to go off the cuff, that's where you get into the trouble of rambling, which I do. So.
And we all do, because we mark so many things that we want to talk about in the book. We will put the titles down below
and
with links to publishers and things like that, so that you can see these wonderful books, some of which are not available yet, but most of which are.
Okay, and we're working on a poetry presentation or poetry episode.
Yep.
And so be looking for that. But as always, if you think of something else that you would like to see, please email us. Email's in the description. Bye.
Bye.